All right, now I'm live. Okay, so let's go back to the channel and try this again and see what's happening. Hey, everybody. First of all, the Arizona Cardinals were the home team, and they ran into a preseason buzzsaw named Oakland Raiders. And you would say, well, what happened? Well, first of all, this is one of the best games, preseason or regular season, that the Raiders have ever played. Okay, and so what happened was, well, straight up, straight away, pure and simple. What happened was, and we have two live streams. Donald Richardson has his, I have mine, um, and so what happened was very simple. The Raiders, it was the Raiders' structured offense versus it was a Raiders structured offense versus the unstructured offense of the Arizona Cardinals. And it was by play choice. The Cardinals elected to call a number of read option runs, testing the Raiders' defense speed when they themselves were not at NFL speed. The Cardinals elected to use a number of plays that you really have to make sure that your speed is superior to that of the defenses in order to work. You can't hesitate. You can't essentially be wrong. And you have to have the speed to outrun the defenders if you are not, if you're a bit, just a little bit too decisive. And that's what happened with Kyler Murray. And I think what really rattled him on a couple of occasions was the whole issue of the false start. And admittedly, hey, how you doing? Admittedly, Murray was caught in his own game. I mean, it wasn't like, whoa, because you know Murray made a mistake. He was trying to trick the defenders. He was clearly trying to trick the defenders, and you can't do that way. You get called for false starts. So it was good for him. This whole game against the Raiders was good for him. It was the humble pie that I think that he wanted to have happen, and it's good that it happened right now because they can iron out. I hate to use the term iron out the kinks, but I would rather explain what those kinks were. Okay, so what they were was, hey everybody, give a thumbs up and let us know what's happening. But here's what the kinks were. And first of all, let's take this for what it's worth, because it's worth a lot. I said it before and I'll say it again. This Oakland Raiders team for 2019 is much better than the 2018 version. Repeat, this Oakland Raiders team for 2019 is much better than the 2018 version. The purely the offensive line is better. The passing design is better. How do you like those just one steps? On the touchdown pass to Grant, Derek Carr took one step and threw. How many times have I yelled for that kind of passing game? You take one step and throw it. One step and throw it. And that's what he did. He took one step and threw. Not bad. Okay? Not bad at all. And so he took one step and threw and did a really, really great job, really great job of finding the obviously open receiver, because he could have missed him. I mean, how can you miss a receiver that wide open? It was beautiful. I wonder what my colleague and Donald Richardson is saying about this fantastic Raider victory. Maybe we can. John D says perfect opportunity for the coaches to nitpick, but all things considered, the Raiders look good. They look really good. Let's chime in and see. We can't really chime in per se. That it should be. There might be a way to do that, but let's have a here. give a listen. If you're wondering what I'm looking for the cord to plug in, and it's not making itself available. And this is what I'm looking for. I don't know how it got all the way over here. Ta-da! Okay, this is what I'm looking for. So I'm plugging that in here, which I did do, and I'm scrolling down. Okay, and then we've got I'm going to Donald Richardson's. This is what I'm doing. Okay, all right. So this is what I'm just listening to what Donald Richardson has to say. Can't hear him. Wait a minute.
Okay. Tonight, but instead he showed poise.
There, I can hear him.
And he delivered the ball.
Okay.
Nathan Peterman, same thing.
All right.
He's like, to me, you guys, for the guys that know me off of Facebook, I know a lot. I know I lost a lot of Raider fans with this, but they just didn't understand where it was coming from. The level of enthusiasm that I had for DJ Hayden is pretty much the level of enthusiasm that I'm going to carry for somebody like Peterman or Glennon. That's where I'm going to place that for because, you know,
all right,
those guys are underdog players right now. They're our most underrated, undervalued players. And as we saw with Carter, he goes down, somebody goes down. We're going to need an above average starter. And when that 12-4 season.
See how that goes?
Even though it wasn't under.
So that's Donald Richardson on the other end.
Even though it wasn't under.
He's doing the thing, right? And we're listening to him and reacting.
Gruden, even though this
it's pretty cool.
Wasn't under Gruden.
Two sides. Let me show what's going on here, folks.
Fast.
All right, let me show what's going on.
Real fast. So I'm hoping
it's me, right? Okay, then.
Gruden and Greg Olson are coaching these guys up, putting them in every situation possible, getting them the reps that they need to take over if Carr goes down.
And that's Richardson, okay? So, all right. Okay.
And I want to say, even though Carr looked good tonight,
it's got two going.
It's got to be consistent. Consistency. That's how you're going to win these coaches over. That's how you're going to win.
Okay, I don't want to hijack his stream because he's doing his thing, right? All right. Now, what I have to say basically is entirely different than what he's saying. And what I'm saying is this. The Raiders finally have the offense that I've wanted to see them have for some years now. It's short, ball control, passing, using the essence of the Bill Walsh offense, which clear outs are clear out concepts, rub concepts, and quasi-pick concepts. I say quasi because a true pick concept is when the defender gets touched. You don't want that because it becomes offensive pass interference call, all right? So that's not what you want to have happen, okay? And then with power running, led by Josh Jacobs, who had an excellent first series and an eighth, you might want to call it, right? First drive. And I'm really excited to see what he does during the regular season when, as they say, all the bullets are real, right? All the live bullets are real, okay? That's what I want to see. And also, hey, I want to say something. Don Richardson is a season ticket holder with the Raiders, who's a great guy. Also suffered some bodily injuries from an IED, an improvised explosive device in Afghanistan. So, for those of you wondering, that came from the Afghan war, and he's survived. And I think to have an operation on what's going on with him will probably kill him. Okay, probably kill him. So keep that in mind when you go over to hear Donald Richardson, what he has to say, and thank him for his service to our country. All right, thank him for his service to our country. And I just want to note that this is the first time that he's decided to really step forward in public and make himself known outside the text world of Facebook, right? And I'm honored that he wanted to do it on my platform and on our network, Zuni 62 Media. So it's great, it really is. All right, and like I say, he's very knowledgeable about the Raiders. He's Oaklander, Raiders season ticket holder. All right, so anyway. Blue Love asked me, he says, do you think, hey, John Akala, how you doing? Hey, John, do me a favor. Go over to Donald Richardson and just also type in hello over there and then come back. Just say, hey, we're talking about you. And then come back, okay? One Love asked, do you think Antonio Brown will be fully healthy by week 1? I didn't see the game, so I don't know how much he played tonight. He didn't play at all. But I think now that the Raiders are to a degree playing possum regarding Antonio Brown, I think he's going to do just fine. And I think he's going to really elevate the play of the Raiders. He's going to give the Raiders a big playability that the Raiders have not had since Cliff Branch. And it's going to make a difference. It really is going to make a huge difference. And all of this stuff that we've been talking about and some people thought was a distraction, but the team led by Derek Carr says it wasn't a distraction. And I don't think it's going to be a distraction. It will be in our rear view mirrors. It'll be in our collective rear view mirror, okay? Go, I'll show you. Hold on a second. Here's what I mean when I say go there. Let's see, I'll put window here, history, here, okay? So it should, yeah. He should come up, oh no. Why is it dark all of a sudden? It wasn't dark at first. Ugh. Let's see here. Go here. See if you can get a picture over there, because it used to be you could have 2 live streams going at once. I don't know if he still has this going or not. Let me see here. It's now buffering. Let me try something. Let's see here. Yeah, he's got his. So there's 2 going. See, look. See, look. See, look. 2 live streams, see? Okay. So go over and check him out. Let's give him some love over there. You know, you go over and check out his stream, and I'll have my stream. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to open this stream, right? And see him. But for some reason, it's dark now. I'll get to that in a second. Is it dark for you? It's dark for me all of a sudden. That's strange. Maybe it's the browser. Is anyone else over there? Let's see here. Yeah, I do. I'm trying to, hold on a second, folks. It's dark and buffering. All right, hold on a second, folks. I'll be right back. Okay, I told him, all right, I told Donald to go and start a brand new live stream, call it part 2. So he's going to start a new one. Hopefully that works out. I mean, you should be able to have 2 live streams going. I've had it before. And I don't understand why you can't do it. Maybe it's a browser issue. I don't know. But whatever it is, I'm going to get out of Chrome and go over here. Normally I can have 2. I don't know what the limit of live streams is on here. But whatever it is, or maybe it's a phone thing, maybe that's it. Maybe, no, that can't be it. That can't be it. I'll have to figure out, whatever it is, there was something going on where, his screen was dark. And it happened to me. So what happens when my screen went dark, I turned around and just started a new stream. Okay, I told him to start a brand new stream and then just let that one develop. All right. Now, someone asked me about Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is going to be an excellent quarterback. I really do. I think the problem that he has right now is that I think Kyler Murray's problem had rested more with the play calls that rested more with the play calls that he was starting. All right. And so with the play calls that all right, cool. And so we're rested more of the play calls he was starting. Okay, so we got 2 live streams now. I got one, and Donald Richardson has got one going. Anyway, if you have a game plan for the team and you're facing a team with young, quick defenders and an aggressive approach, the Raiders were the perfect test for the Cardinals because Kyler Murray made some poor decisions with respect to the read option. I personally believed that he shouldn't have been put in the position to have to use the read option at that point. I thought that their short passing game was a better choice, but also they do some freelancing there in terms of their passing game that it tells me that they don't base their passing game on timing in the use of yardage and steps. Now you say, what do I mean? Okay, this is what I mean. I mean, in the Bill Walsh offense, everything is based on steps and yards. So in the way that I draw the offense up, the way that I think about it, a 5-step drop is, all right, first you take the snap, all right, and you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Now really, in the Walsh concept, it's 3 big steps, 2 short. And then you throw either with or without what's called a hitch step. A hitch step is where you put your foot in the ground and you throw, okay? But you design the patterns in time with that step. You don't see that in the Cardinal offense. In the Cardinal offense, it's very much, you get the ball, you move back a little bit with a rush, and you look, okay? And so you don't know, if you get flushed out of the pocket, you can rush out and real quick and real fast. There's no disciplined way of dropping back, all right? Oh, okay, really? Huh. He has a new version that is on the front page of Zenny 62. It's part 2. Got that? Okay. So at any rate, my point is that it's not disciplined in its drop back. So he has you dropping to certain yards, but not steps. And it's very obvious in the way that they play. Whereas the Raiders offense, how it's designed is loud and clear to you by steps. Derek Carr takes 1 step in a hitch step, throws to Ryan Grant, running a flat, okay? Grant takes the ball. The tight end just ahead of him runs a kind of an in pattern that's so designed to actually, in a sense, take his defender and scrape the other defender and create confusion, enough space so that Ryan is wide open. That play worked like a charm, all right? That play worked like a charm. It was really beautiful. It's not that the Cardinal offense doesn't have anything like that, but it doesn't have anything that uses footwork timing like that, all right? That's the problem. That's the problem. And so that's the problem. So that's the real problem, okay? So having said all that, I'll say this. I'll get to that in a second. I'll say this about the Cardinals. If the Cardinals can stick to their base 4 wide and have Murray throw in the pocket, I think they'll be just fine. Base 4 wide, leave a back in the back to block, or have that back take a swing pass or swing route. I think they'll be just fine. Okay, they need to work more on what I hope is the running game package they brought with them from his stops, Cliff Kingsbury stops at Texas A&M and at Texas Tech. All right, if they do that, they'll be fine. That offense, it has a mixture of the good in that it allows for a guy like Johnny Manziel to develop and then beat Alabama. Okay, Johnny Manziel does not beat Alabama in a standard Walsh offense with timing, but because it doesn't allow for the kind of freelancing that made Johnny Manziel, or for that matter, made Kyler Murray, okay? However, here's the big problem. At the NFL level, offenses face defenses that are lightning fast. And so that freelancing is curbed. I call that freelancing margins for error. In other words, I can go over here and make a mistake. I can go over here and make a mistake. There he is. He's open, all right? That works okay. And we see Patrick Mahomes do very well with that kind of style of play, but it's within a structure. Very unique combination there. But Andy Reid has enough structure to fit within, and that's why his offense is not a pure air raid offense, obviously. But Andy Reid has done enough in designing in, which I think is genius, designing in elements of the air raid and Mahomes' style personal play that essentially makes Andy Reid's offense arguably the next element, the next evolutionary version of that offense. Cliff Kingsbury's is the current version of that offense. Now, having said all that, the problem is speed. And the Raiders presented for the Cardinals a lightning fast defense, faster than last year. Last year's defense would not have been as effective as this year's defense in preseason against them. That said, the Raiders would have prevailed last year as well for many of the same reasons had the organizations played last year instead of this year, all right? But this year's Raider team is about 15 points better. And so this is what you got, all right? This is what you got. If the Raiders of last year played the Cardinals, they would have had the same, they would have jumped out ahead, but maybe like 13-0. but not 24-0. This team is much better. It's much faster on offense and defense, but it's much more efficient in the design and execution of its passing game. It is light years ahead of last year. The question is, and the wild card is, hey, look, to what extent can they be effective against the Chargers? Which, as far as I'm concerned, and then, of course, the Broncos, and we don't exactly know how the Broncos are going to attack the Raiders. All right? So I'm not saying that the Raiders are out of the woods entirely, because there's this tendency to evaluate our teams in bubbles. All right? And so within the bubble, the Raiders look like they can march to the Super Bowl right now. I caution anybody who would come away with that effort, of that point of view, to do so. Temper your thoughts. Because the unanswered questions still remain. Can the Raiders quickly adjust? And let me think about this. Can the Raiders quickly adjust when they need to adjust the game plan? This game against the Cardinals was not that game. But that said, the Cardinals, and this is where I give Cliff Kingsbury high marks, he walked right in there and he was fixing things on the spot. That's a good coach. All right? He didn't just sit there and just let it play out and think, oh, woe is me. You didn't see Kingsbury yelling at people. He's a teacher, like John yells at people, okay? You didn't see Cliff Kingsbury doing that at all. You saw Kingsbury as the teacher. He's very calm, very laid back, California cool, and didn't break a sweat, and seemed to love, although I know he didn't, love being in that place where he had to fix things. And so that's what you saw him doing. He was fixing communications with the ref about what they were doing, fixing his quarterbacks, all of his quarterbacks, not just Murray, regarding the whole problem, right? All that. So what I come away with is, what you see is a person in Cliff Kingsbury tasked with an assignment of upgrading the air raid offense to NFL levels. And I think this was a great training for him. I think this butt kicking was the best thing that they could have ever had. And it was done by a Raider organization that is much better, and as far as I'm concerned now, must be considered a playoff team. I said that. The Oakland Raiders of 2019 must be considered a playoff team. The Oakland Raiders of 2019 must be considered a playoff team. The issues that they had last year in terms of communication, what was expected of Gunther and everything, are largely taken care of, okay? And I don't say it because they won the game. I'm talking about the style of play. They could have just as easily lost this game, but I'm talking about the style of play. And yeah, look, let's face it, scoring and yardage are your measuring sticks. They always are. But also, how you play on individual down basis matters more to me at preseason, all right? So now, as far as what my opinion on Antonio Brown and the helmet issue is, I have to admit, I kind of went along with the party crowd idea that, oh, you know, he was being whiny and all this sort of thing. And he was, okay? He has his way of solving problems. But I do agree with John Gruden that, hey, look, he's had this helmet for years and we're going to stick by him. And then I was thinking about, as I was listening to Gruden talk, and I was thinking about my own thinking about this, something came into my brain, a memory that caused me to shift back to being solidly on Brown's side. Here's what it was. When I was at the 2004 Super Bowl in Houston. I went as a guest to the Octagon Super Bowl party. Octagon was an agency at the time. I don't know if Octagon even still exists. Does Octagon still exist? Hold on a second. I'm just typing Octagon Sports. Octagon Sports Agency. Let's see here. I believe, folks, that Octagon Sports Agency just might still, and they still exist. Yeah. Been around a while. Headquartered in Tysons, Virginia. Founder Phil D. Policito. Founded in 1982. Parent organization is the Interpublic Group of Companies. Yeah. So, at any rate, when I was at their Super Bowl party in Houston, I met 49er linebacker Keith, I believe the late Keith Fahnhorst now. Keith Fahnhorst. And we were having a conversation about Coach Walsh, the Niners, the people he played with, and we started talking about schemes and strategies. And I said, you know, to me, a football player is an artist, and the job of a coach is to provide the canvas upon which the football player paints his masterwork. Okay? In other words, it's the job of the football coach is to put you in the right situation to do a job that makes you an all-pro and makes you the money that you seek, that allows you to help the people you want to help. That spoke to Keith Fahnhorst. So I think that's what John Gruden is doing, and from that perspective, I applaud him. He understands that, hey, look, Antonio Brown's an artist. We may call him a diva, but I think it's disrespectful to do that. It's better to call him an artist. He is a painter, and it's our job as fans and as coaches to give him the canvas upon which he can paint his masterpiece. If we don't design the canvas the right way, he's going to let us know it. He should, and he did that. It's up to us to respond. I like that. I like that. Okay? See, some of you out there, you have the idea, and I really urge you to get over this. But some of you have this idea that the player is supposed to just do what the coach says. But see, here's where that thought that you adopt, you don't really think it through. Because you will subconsciously jettison that thought the minute you hear someone on any major television station talk about how the player should have ran this route or the player should have went this way, forgetting for the moment that the player only does what the coach tells the player to do, unless the coach explicitly says, hey, look, you're calling the plays, Ken Stabler. You're running the offense, Ken Stabler. Or, okay, or Dan Pastorini or the other quarterbacks of the day. You don't hear about that today, right? But how often will you give credence to someone making a comment about what the quarterback should have done? Or how often do you yourself say, oh, that quarterback should have thrown this way? You never ask what the coach told them to do. You never ask what the play was. All right? You never ask, well, what was the quarterback told to look for? You see what I'm getting at? So the very way that you look at football is inherently contradictory. And because of that, it's unfair to Antonio Brown. It's unfair to Derek Carr. It's unfair to any quarterback out there in today. You should always criticize the coach, all right? You should always criticize the coach. If you're not criticizing the coach, you're not understanding the game. I say that because Dan Orlovsky on ESPN criticized coaching with respect to Dwayne Haskins. I loved it because he knew what to look for. And so he gave us a great teach-in proving that the pick six that Haskins threw really wasn't his fault, and it was the fault of the fact that the split in was spaced out too wide, when he was being asked to come in and essentially scrape a linebacker, okay? And then the running back was asked to really run out and run this wheel route past him, and yet it was too far, it was too wide, and it was more, so it became more of an out pattern in terms of its throw than a fade pattern, and it should have been a fade pattern. Okay. And so Orlovsky says, well, you know, here Haskins will come back and say, well, coach, you know, you told me to throw to this wheel route, and this guy's running, you said the linebacker would be clear and open, the linebacker wasn't. He jumped it. Because what the split end didn't do and what the back didn't do, the quarterback wound up throwing a pick six. So everybody blames Haskins, but in point of fact, it wasn't his fault. It was Jay Gruden and his offensive coordinator not paying attention to details. All right? John Gruden pays attention to details. So you don't see plays like that so far, fingers crossed, in the Raiders' arsenal. All right? Just don't. So let's see what we got going here. Yeah. So Alvaro Delgado says, how do you feel about Raiders' pressure? Paul's very blitz looks good. I'm still insecure about our four-man front. I hear you on that, but I don't think you should be I don't think it was as much an issue with the four-man front being insecure, not good, as it was the Cardinals having a good offensive line. Because of the fact that they freelance, and you can tell this in the way the Cardinals play, their offensive linemen are asked to hold blocks for a long time. If you want to understand that offense, go watch some tapes of Kyle Murray or Johnny Manziel. This offense is designed around giving the quarterback time to dance in the pocket, find the open receiver, but it doesn't do so in a timed fashion. It's not like 1, 2, 3, throw, right? Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, throw, 1, 2, 3. Primary receiver, secondary receiver, tertiary receiver, right? That timing is not built into the air raid system as it's ran by Cliff Kingsbury. If it were designed by me, it would be. All right? John Acosta says, I like the way Josh Jacobs ran the ball. I do too. I like that he's seeking the cutback. You know? Hole's not there. Look at the backside block. Cut back behind it. Don't unlike the Cardinals running back, number 22, don't go outside your blockers. We saw that a number of times with the Cardinals, but we didn't see that with Josh Jacobs and the Raiders. Oh, no. On one occasion, it looked like Jacobs was going to break it. He was certainly looking for it. He might get it. He might get it. All right, folks, I'm going to shove off. It's 1:02 and get some sleep. And I will be back. I'll be back tomorrow, but not late. I'll be back tomorrow early. And also welcome Jessica Dwyer. She is our new VIP entertainment and horror media vlogger. Okay? She's covered Comic-Con in San Diego for the last 10 years. She covers a number of these conventions. If you are a fan of Star Wars, Godzilla, Stephen King, the movies, you want to find out what's happening, the latest, she's the person. Her main home is fangirlmag.com. I am blessed to have her. Okay, see you all.